Hey, Reginald, man, thank you so much for having me out again. I can't believe how fast they have put this place up. It's really incredible how fast these guys move. But I can tell you why they move so fast. One big reason is because if you look up, you can see that they've got all of these stud locations printed on the lumber. So S stud, all that, that helps them know where all these pieces go. So it's really just a matter of having the human resources to come in and put everything together like a, giant box of Legos, essentially. I did find a few things that need to be addressed, and I'll go ahead and show you what some of those are. One thing you can see here is all of this orange pink foam. This is fire blocking foam. So what this does is separate the garage from the subfloor space there, the attic space from the subfloor space, all that fun stuff. So here you've got over there plenty of subfloor, and up here you've got plenty of attic space. So this gap right up here between the two, all this needs to be sealed up nice and tight. Now over here we can kind of see the same. You can see that this is a subfloor space over the entrance that's going to be, you're going to have your living space up there. And then also they did a really awful job of doing this, sealing this up. You can see that they got that big gap there. So that needs to be sealed up. So fire blocking, pretty important inside a new house. Still here in the garage, one thing that the builder's inspector pointed out was that these anchor bolts are missing the nuts and the washers. Quite a few of these are all the way around the house really are missing. So all of these need to have nuts, washers and the nuts tightened down on top of that. Now, one thing that I noticed here is that they're using a 2x6 as a sill plate, which is great. But the fact is, it does no good if you don't have the foundation underneath it. So you've got about 2 inches and change of overhang here, where that should be completely bearing onto the foundation. So that's going to need to be repaired, especially considering that's at the edge of your portal frame. So that garage, man, this giant hole, you gotta supplement the strength that's lost here, and they supplement it here on each side. So all that has to get, they have to make sure that that's properly installed. Coming up here, you can see your hot water line coming in, and it comes over nice and insulated until it hits right here. Look at the red one. Now that is a 3/4 inch line. All of your hot water lines that are 3/4 inches or bigger need to be insulated, and that is a code item. So where it splits off from the 3/4 and branches over to the 1/2 inch, that would not need to be insulated per code. Of course, best practice would state, yes, it is insulated, but the minimum standard is that this big fat red one would be insulated. All right, so wiring. Now pay attention here. You can see how these wires are divided. You've only got 2 coming through each hole, right? So they're separated here, here, even up here, they're separated so that you don't have too many going through the same hole. Up here, all separated, but coming through here, they're all smashed together into 2 holes. And what that does is it leaves a possibility for overheating. Now, this is something that I see fairly often. A lot of people miss it. So it is a code item, a little bit, I don't want to say obscure, but because obviously people know about it, but it's one that's often missed by other inspectors. So I'll go ahead and make sure that gets in there. Speaking of other fun code items that are often missed by other inspectors, you've got your gas line coming in here. You can see this is CSST. This is corrugated stainless steel, and it is touching the wire up there. That is a 30 amp wire where it's touching there. Here, this is a 60 amp wire, 6 gauge, and that's a 10 gauge. So these need to be separated. Not supposed to have any of these wires touching the CSST or any gas line, honestly. Overall, your framing looks pretty good. They've done a pretty good job of marking a lot of things that need to be hit. So, you know, most of these I've not even worried about because it's already on the list. But one thing that they did is they did not fully install this tension tie. You can see the nails that are missing here. You can see the bolt that's missing there, and that round hole should be filled. So this is not fully installed. You got the same thing over here. No nails, no bolt. Well, I got a few nails in there. You can see them right there, but not enough. And of course, that bolt is missing in the center. So this thing is rated for, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000 pounds, something like that. But it's not doing anything if it's not bolted. All right, so let's go upstairs, take a look at all this fun stuff. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's definitely some squeaking going on. Hear that? That's going to be driving you crazy every single day when you're coming and going from the bathroom. Up here, same thing. So these are a couple things that are going to be easy to fix now. Much more difficult to fix after everything's finished. Now, one thing that I noticed up here is that, let's see if I can zoom in on it. You've got this truss, this gusset plate that is damaged. Pretty bad. So that needs to be repaired. Ooh, that's ugly. Other than that, looks pretty good. A few other little odds and ends. Overall, most of the gaps here have been maintained. You got to have at least an 1/8 of an inch gap at the short ends of the plywood here. All right, so let's go downstairs, and I'll show you a few things here on the exterior. The exterior looks pretty good. I didn't see too many issues, though there are some fasteners missing between these two vents. You can see this horizontal line of fasteners on the left side of this vent, and they just kind of stop. And they're missing until you come across to about here, and they start back up again. You can zoom in and see those. Those guys right there. That line just stops, comes across, and should make it to there, all the way across the fasteners, but they haven't. Speaking of missing fasteners, up here as well, you're also missing some right there. So that needs to get re-nailed. Overall, the exterior actually looks surprisingly good. I'm really happy to see it in pretty good shape. Usually that's the longest part of the report, but in this case, it's definitely not going to be. One other little item here, and this is carried over from the pre-pour inspection. You can see the end of this cable, this post-tension cable, has been cut off a little bit short. Now this should have been capped and then of course mortared completely over.